Welcome to the Verbal Nonsense Podcast. I'm Joel,
And I'm Todd.
and today we're going to talk about stuff you didn't know you wanted to know.
Oh, yes. I guess. You probably didn't want to know some of these. Um, or touch and go. Touch and go on what you want to know. Oh, man. We talked about it a little bit. A lot of people are talking about it. It's important to me, BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Did you look at any of it at all?
No, I haven't.
No, okay. Well,
I've I've
protesters,
watched.
according to Reddit, are coming out in droves now over the Hong Kong Blizzard thing, and honestly, the audience inside does not seem to notice. Major hype. Blizzard, of course, is one of the biggest, game developers slash publishers. I think that they've really gone downhill since Activision bought them, but that's just my personal bias because I don't like Call of Duty. Um, I mean, they pump out a new game, okay, new quote unquote new game every year, and that's gonna cost minimum $70. And it's the same game reskinned. They tweak little things, and every time it's published as the best one, and it sells billions and billions, and that revenue could go to balance the world deficit and whatever. But they managed to have zero cell phone news this year so far. Of course, Diablo, their announcement last year, they was a cell phone game that still hasn't come out. I actually wanted to play it. So, it hasn't come out. Call of Duty, of course, did come out with a cell phone game, and it is making billions. And nobody cried about it. Diablo 4
Amazing.
was finally released, and I am stoked. Uh, Overwatch 2 was announced. Maybe I was just overtired. I only had 3 hours of sleep yesterday. Cinematic trailer, I think I did cry. I'm not sure. It was very touching.
I haven't watched it. I need to.
Well, I mean, if you're not a huge Overwatch fan, I don't think it'll have as much of an effect on you. But did you play Halo at all?
No, I was never a Halo fan.
Okay, well, Halo had this game mode called Horde where you and your co-op buddies just fight endless waves of guys. I don't think anybody's done that right since Horde came out. And Overwatch is starting a new player versus environment, more of a co-op rather than player versus player with
I might be
Overwatch
into that.
2. It looks amazing, and they didn't have any real gameplay of it, but the cinematic trailer kind of touches on it, and it looks amazing. But that's enough of that. I wanted to talk about it because that's important to me.
I might have to check that out. That actually appeals to me.
Well, what's odd, and I'm really confused about the Overwatch news because they talked about um, Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 sounds more like Overwatch Chapter 2 rather than a true sequel. It sounds like a massive graphics update, just a massive just content update, but not a true sequel. They're adding a storyline, which before you had to get online and look at player comics and stuff like that. They're adding a storyline into the game, which I kind of worry about a little bit because of Blizzard's not really Blizzard, but Overwatch developers themselves and their social justice platform that they've taken as a side to let's make this game better. They're more worried about pumping social issues into the game, and I'm slightly worried that they're gonna ruin the game with their doctrine, more or less.
Okay.
But outside of that, they announced a new champion, more or less in that trailer. Um, they're which that'll make number 31 or 32. I don't know. They're all really unique. I enjoy playing every single one of them.
I'll need to update it.
Yeah, you need to update it. But this is the thing that confuses me about when they talked about Overwatch and Overwatch 2. They used the terms "no player left behind," and they discussed that Overwatch 1 players will get all the new maps, the new characters, the new character updates, because they're updating all the skins. Overwatch 1 came out in 2016. They're saying that characters got older, and their player skins, everything is going to reflect that. Reinhardt, one of my favorites, he's like an old man, giant German dude, wears this big armor and has a shield and a big hammer. I love playing Reinhardt, and he got older. He has a magnificent beard, more magnificent than his old beard. I'm a big fan of beards. But
No.
in my, I 100% of the time, if there's a character in a game that has a massive beard, I will play that character. I don't care whether he's I don't know, if he's a
Tank,
if he's a
healer,
rat car mechanic. I don't care.
epic beards, or you're all
Yeah,
about it. Right?
that's where I'm at. I'm just like, that dude's got a beard. If they had a bearded lady, I'd probably play that too. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
If that was the only character with a beard, I would probably play the bearded lady.
You probably like my character in 7 Days to Die. He has an epic beard.
I have not played 7 Days to Die at all. And, oh my goodness,
What?
I'm looking at my background. Sorry about this mess behind me.
Looks like 7 Days to Die is going on in your house.
Oh, it might as well be. Or doing a massive fire sale on my Magic the Gathering collection. 10 years. So, haven't played it in 3, so it's time to get rid of them.
I haven't played it in a while, but that's just because either people I know who played moved away or they stopped playing. So.
Yeah, the game evolved too much. But going back to Blizzard, I got on Reddit this morning, and they're just showing all these protesters outside saying that, with the Hong Kong thing. My opinion on Blizzard banning players for speaking against the Hong Kong protests, they were wrong. But you got to understand it from a business aspect. Blizzard and China have a very small relationship. I think Chinese investors only, it's very small. However, those investors are the only portal for Blizzard to get their games into China. China, of course, has the largest population in the world.
Yep.
That's a lot of revenue. That's a lot of revenue. And for those investors to pull out because China didn't say something, would be foolish. It'd be foolish. I mean, in reality, if I had a business and I had people that I sponsored, that I gave money to, saying, just saying stuff, that reflected badly on my business, I would probably do something too. I wouldn't ban them, but I would probably send a hasty email saying, "Hey, look, bro, calm down, please." Because in reality, Blizzard has been losing money since Activision took over. And that is because content. They are not, they're not pushing out the quality they used to. It used to be Blizzard, they were like, okay, we need an update. Okay, that's neat. We're going to work 4 years on it and release it when it's perfect. That's what Blizzard used to do. Activision came into the circle, and it's all about revenue. And
Pumping that stuff out
just
quickly.
pump it out as fast as possible. I don't care if it's broken. We'll patch it later. They got the Bethesda mentality now, and it's disgusting. I'm not a World of Warcraft fan. I exclusively just Diablo and Overwatch. I could care less about the rest of Blizzard. As far as World of Warcraft, StarCraft, fun games, but who cares?
I used to be a Warcraft person, but I don't know, they took a game that actually took some sort of, I wouldn't say talent, but at least a level of skill to get certain things done. Now you could be a window licker and play it. I don't know.
But yeah, I played during Burning Crusade, and my liver didn't appreciate it. because I would get in and I would sit there and it's an MMO. It's a grind. It's a slow grind. It's just hours and hours and hours and hours of farming so that you can make bandages to put in the auction house. At one time, Chris, mutual friend, he was like number one in bandage sales in the old auction house.
Dang.
I'm not 100% sure if that was just US servers or worldwide, but he was number one. And
That's crazy.
I worked really hard to get there because honestly, making bandages was the only thing I really knew how to do because I would start, and that's what I would start doing, as far as gearing up, leveling up, and I would drink. And by the time it actually came to doing real stuff in the game, I was passed out at my keyboard and I would wake up and I'd be disconnected and my chat log would be, "Where's our healer? Where's our healer?" I was the healer. I needed a resurrection spell bad. So, yeah. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the protests. I don't agree with the backlash, but I don't agree with the action. I don't that Blizzard took. I don't agree with the backlash that they're getting. I feel like the backlash over the cell phone Diablo from last year, I think that was blown way out of proportion, and I am wondering where Diablo Immortals is at. Personally, it's not out. It should be. They announced it. They showed a working demo, and what they just get scared. I don't care. I just want them to follow through with something. I don't need more. I don't need no more rainbow sprays for Overwatch because they have a couple of I don't know, social justice characters in the game now. I don't care. It adds nothing to the game itself. And they need to get off of that. They need to make quality. That's just my opinion. I could talk about it all day, so I'll quit talking about it now. Man, you want to start? Because we'll not call that a start.
Fair enough. All right. Well, when you were in school, if you didn't turn in an assignment, Todd, what happened? You got a 0, right?
Oh yeah. I clearly don't remember, but that was 100 and some odd years ago.
Now I know you have kids.
But my boys, they have failed to turn things in the past, and like a good parent, I fought tooth and nail to correct that. But
you wouldn't expect him to get anything above a 0.
No. If they didn't turn it in, they don't. You don't deserve it. If you don't do the work,
Right.
You don't get the credit.
Well, there is a Florida teacher who has been fired for giving her student 0s for missing assignments.
Didn't we just say that we found nothing from Florida?
Well, yeah, and I told you, hey, look, there is one. No, because I heard about this earlier in the week, and it kind of bothered me because
For a teacher doing her job?
in St. Lucie, Florida, apparently they have a no 0 policy. Apparently, it is literally called a no 0 policy. The lowest possible grade that teachers can give the students is a 50, even if they don't turn anything in.
What?
That's a bunch of crap. Well, she didn't agree, and she gave her students a project where they had 2 weeks to complete it.
Mm-hmm.
And several students didn't do it, so that she gave them 0s, and she got fired for it. So yeah, they had 2 weeks to complete the project. They didn't turn it in. She gave them 0s, and the school fired her for it.
Did they even mention what the project was, or was it a 3-week project?
No, It was a 2 week project.
I mean, are they building a rocket? I mean,
It's called a Explorer Notebook Project. Doesn't
oh,
really get
goodness
into
gracious.
detail. Um, but yeah, and then she had several that didn't hand it in, and she gave them zeros.
Wow. What is a 50 anyway? 50's an F, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it,
I'm pretty sure 50's an F. Hmm.
or a D.
If it's a
I don't
D,
remember.
that's disgusting because that means that you can just go to school and not turn anything in and still graduate. Okay, I mean, you're not going to college, but people who are not going to, who are going to abuse that system are going to go to college anyway. No, I think
But
zeros
anyway,
are important. It's accountability. It's, you don't get freebies. You don't get freebies for not doing any work. You know,
uh,
no.
she
Well,
left them a message on the whiteboard.
mm-hmm.
It says, "Bye, kids. Mrs. Torado loves you and wishes you the best in life. I have been fired for refusing to give you 50% for not handing anything in. Love, Mrs. Torado. She's a grade in Mrs. Torado's class is earned." So I don't know. She's she's been raising awareness of this on different
Good.
platforms.
Good. That principal needs to be turbo fired.
Yeah. This is a good part of the problem with the education system in our country.
Yeah, that
Is
that school board is trash. That everything about it. They've got one teacher who is actually willing to stand up and say, "Hey, this is wrong."
and she
Um,
gets fired.
but what's more concerning is that you've got a school board who thought this was a good idea.
You're not teaching the kids what real life is like.
Well,
You can't not show up for work and still get paid. Like, well, you didn't show up today,
you
so
get
you're going to get
half day
50%
pay.
of your pay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life isn't like that. You
You
don't
know,
get half the reward for
no,
doing nothing.
you don't. I mean, you could have 2 jobs. You could have 3. You know how many jobs you can have if that was the case?
Right?
I mean, I
Go get
would
like 10
literally
jobs,
have.
not show up, and
Yeah, I
then
wouldn't show up to any of them.
still get half the pay. Life doesn't work that way.
No, I mean, I would go to like a temp agency and just say, "Hey, man, just give me whatever is available." They're like, "Well, which one are you interested in?" I said, "All of them. Just give me all of them." And then I walk out of there with 50 jobs, and 50. I don't know, whatever half a minimum wage is. Doesn't matter. I would hit up every place in the country. I'd work
Sign up,
all over the world.
sign up for college and don't show up and still get a degree.
Still get a degree. They're like, well, I would be the worst plastic surgeon in the world. But I mean, that's cool though. I'd get that job too. People would come up and get their rhinoplasty or whatever, and I just wouldn't show up, and I'd still get half the bill. I'd just send them half a bill.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the way schools are teaching today with the whole we're gonna just teach them to pass tests. We're not gonna teach them to think for themselves anymore.
Yeah, and I'll agree that life is just one test after another, but that's not really the meat of it. There's you gotta work through it, and they're cheating those children out of that.
They are. Now
Pray for Florida.
this next one is also school related. This one comes from California.
Oh God.
Um, now, this particular school has school ID cards,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to include a suicide prevention lifeline number on the card.
Okay.
I guess there were some incidents. Well, apparently, when they were being
Oh no.
printed, 2 of the numbers were accidentally reversed, and they accidentally put the number of a sex phone line on there.
I think you get the same result.
A sex hotline number. Um,
Yeah, I think you get the same result. It don't matter. That's somebody to talk to.
Yeah, right. So late yesterday, they were made aware that the wrong number was listed, um, and the middle school administrators will be collecting all student IDs, and they'll be printing new student IDs and distributing to the students. But I just think, could you imagine the first student who gets super depressed and calls the hotline
That
and goes,
guy, yeah.
"Hi."
Why is life so hard? Oh yeah, baby. Tell me about it.
Why don't you tell me what exactly is hard in your life?
It's just parents are
Uh,
like, why is your cell phone bill so high? 'Cause I've been super suicidal lately.
super, super.
Super. It's just so bad. Oh, we need to get you to a therapist. I've got all the help I need.
This line helps. Trust me. Just pay the bill.
Just pay the
It
bill,
costs
ask
about
no
the same going
questions.
to therapy anyway.
I don't know. Doesn't cost that kid nothing.
It's true. Oh, it costs his parents the same.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Health insurance is really covering a lot of that now with, the
Yeah, it's
boosted
true.
efforts of mental health awareness. But that's got to be a real issue. That kid walked out of there with a lot more issues. Never mind. I'm not going to get into the ethics of sex hotlines and that they should have known that it was a child. You ever watch Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler? And
No.
I think it's Emily Watson. I don't know. I love the movie. It's it was from when Adam Sandler was doing a lot of more dramas than comedies. Of course, they had some comedy elements in them. None of them came from him. But the movie, he is an extremely lonely guy, and he calls a sex line just to talk to someone. And long story short, he finally is just like, whatever, you don't want to just talk, that's fine. And he hangs up. Well, a couple months later, he gets a bill for like $700 or $800. I don't remember what it was. He tracks the guy down and beats the crap out of him.
Holy crap.
Yeah, because it was a scam. They keep calling him to extort money out of him, and he goes and finds the guy and takes care of it. But it's weird because Adam Sandler's character in that film is just really meek, and then just has moments of just explosive rage. And honestly, I prefer Adam Sandler's dramas in comparison to say Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is a classic, but I love it. And Billy Madison, love those movies. But like Spanglish, Punch Drunk Love, Funny People, those movies. Rain Over Me was just, or Rain on Me, I'm not sure, with Don Cheadle and Liz Tyler. Those, to me, are must-see Adam Sandler movies because he has more range than people give him credit for.
I've watched Spanglish. That was actually really good.
When his wife tells him that she's cheated on him, and he says that the planet cracked, that really I don't know. Repeating the scene has zero impact. Watching the scene, you can see some real pain, and it was pretty impressive. He's just one of those actors that we don't get to see enough of in those roles. Robin Williams, I'm same thing. He
Oh yeah,
I
that man
miss
had
him.
depth.
He had some massive depth. Awakenings was one of my favorite movies where he plays the doctor, and with that actor I can't stand anymore because he's more about just making noise. Robert De Niro.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. Yep.
Alright.
Yep.
Well, I'm done with the school one. You got anything you want to?
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I found out that Everest hikers who climbers who climb Mount Everest are extremely dirty people. There is a company or volunteer workers, I'm not 100% sure. Blue Waste of Value, or BW2V, is a cleanup crew that has decided that they're going to clean up Everest. And forgive me for not doing more research on this. I need to actually look up the I need to actually look up the spelling on this, because I don't want to think TONNES is okay. Never mind. It is. 10 tons of trash has been removed from Mount Everest, from hikers, from climbers, from Everest expedition people who literally just throw their trash on the ground to climb our planet's most iconic mountain. Um, they're having to scale 26,300 feet to remove over 10 tons of trash. Okay, this is
Damn.
that. Yeah, I mean that's small. That's landfill levels. You know, I'm not talking about L.A. landfill, but probably West Plains, Missouri landfill. This is,
That's
and
a lot of trash.
well, you got to think these are just people who backpacked everything in. I think at one of the camps they drop a helicopter, but they're literally just leaving everything. You know, you go to the lake or go to the beach or whatever it is you go to, there's signs, hey, take it with you.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting trash pickup when I go to the beach. Just throw it on the ground. Somebody will pick it up later. But apparently, these people who climb Everest um, just destroy it. 10 tons of trash. I consider that destroyed. Um, on the other side end of it, these people are talking about upcycling. So apparently, old Blue Waste of Value spends way too much time on Pinterest. Recycle the stuff. Don't sell it back to me. you know, if they're making like some kind of crappy plastic molded coffee cups or something like that, and just charge an arm and a leg because they pulled it off of Everest, um, don't call me about it. I don't want to hear about it, because just recycle it, people. You know, I agree that I don't know. I feel like I feel like they need to go back and start finding these people. I really do. This is
I agree.
it's a literally, because it just reminds me. Have you ever like looked at pictures of the Taj Mahal and say, "Oh my goodness, that's beautiful," and then you see like other photos just that haven't been, I don't know, haven't been taken at the best camera angle, or they're just like, hey, this is what it really looks like, and just the trash filled lake that surrounds the Taj Mahal. Have you ever seen those?
Yes.
It's just, that's what Everest is going to look like. The Taj Mahal is like amazing, but apparently it's only amazing on calendars. Other than that, it just looks like Central Park in the 70s.
Hmm.
But
Yep. No, I've seen some of those photos. Yeah.
yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I saw that and I was actually, I was like, this is great that they're doing this, but I'm actually mildly outraged. Um, that's a lot of trash.
That is it. Yep. Well, I mean, you see that everywhere you go. I mean, have you ever been following a car
uh,
and all of a sudden they just throw a bag of like McDonald's trash out the window?
yeah, I have. I
Yeah,
have.
it's
You
people
know, yeah,
give zero crap.
yeah.
It's like,
You know, a lot of what they're throwing out, and I agree with even though, your bag of McDonald's trash minus the cup is biodegradable. Is it ugly? Yeah, it is, but it's only ugly for maybe 6 months. After the rain hits it, the animals pick apart what's left of the food that returns to the earth. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that's less bad than the islands of plastic floating in our oceans. You know,
Oh, I.
plastic. Yeah,
But it's still it's like, dude, how much?
yeah,
How hard is it to take that home and throw it away?
exactly. How hard is it to at your next stop throw it in their trash can?
That too.
You know,
Stop at a gas station while you're refueling. Throw your trash away.
that's why they have those trash cans there. You know?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I've always felt bad because I've had like a soda cup, and when I drive, I literally try to buy the largest cup imaginable. You know, if they've got like a 10-gallon cup that I could put a straw in, I'll probably get that. And you know, like on long trips, you're driving, you have the AC on, and you're just like, yeah, I'm not really that thirsty, but you've bought this giant soda and you haven't really drank much of it, and then the water's all diluted, and you go inside somewhere for a couple hours, you come back and it's hot, and you're like, I'm not going to drink this. So when you're at the gas station, I, I feel a little weird throwing it away. I'll pour it out on the ground before I throw it into the trash can. I don't know why. It's really, I just imagine like it all going into the bag and tearing open and just like ruining this person's day. Like that was the final straw, and they're quitting their job with no other job to go to, and they can't pay their bills anymore. And I'm just like that goes through my head when I throw
I
away a
dump it.
cup.
I
You know,
dump it out.
yeah. I mean, it's courteous, but I don't know
And it
why.
makes the
It's
bag heavier too.
yeah, that's true too. You know, and I don't know why. I don't. It's just there's a whole backstory in throwing things away. It's like
True story.
what could happen? And then sometimes I throw my trash away after I've gone in and paid and then been extremely brutalized in the line by a worker who's having an extremely bad day, and I throw my entire cup away full of content, hoping that it makes their day worse. It's like maybe they're not on trash pickup, but it's possible. It's, yeah, Everest is a big mountain of trash now.
That's sad.
Yeah, that, that's the in and the out of it. I feel bad for him. But
Hmm.
isn't okay? Everest is in Tibet, correct? Sorry about my geology, but geography. I don't even know. I don't even know that. Okay, geography is horrible. I do know where Australia is and New Zealand's at, but um, I can't remember if it's in Tibet or not. But I'm basically wondering because I believe that China also has claims to Tibet, so that would make sense why there's no trash pickup.
Um, it is in the Himalayas.
Okay.
Yeah, Tibet.
Oh, somebody sent me a picture a long time ago, a few months ago, of a new restaurant that's popping up around America called the Himalayan Chimney. Oh, a buddy sent me a picture of one. He was just like, if somebody just told me about this place and not told me it was a restaurant, I figured it would be something akin to the Cleveland Steamer.
Oh,
I was just every time I hear Himalaya anything, that's what I think of now.
ew.
Gonna go in here and get a Himalayan chimney. Ugh, they got some great soup there. Uh,
Oh,
it's- oh, this is completely unrelated, but I heard that they've found fresh DNA of the woolly mammoth and are attempting to clone this beast now,
oh my goodness.
bringing them back.
Actually, did you see that they found mummified remains of a dinosaur?
Really,
Yeah. Um,
bring them back. Just bring everything back.
so now they actually have confirmation on what one of these dinosaurs actually looked like,
Oh
not
no!
just
Don't
guessing.
destroy my image of dinosaurs. Surely you've seen the meme that dinosaurs made oil, that dinosaurs are oil.
Yeah.
Okay. And plastic is made from oil. So plastic dinosaurs are made of dinosaurs.
And this dinosaur was actually accidentally found.
Oh, that's good. While you're looking that up, I actually read an article about a dingo that was dropped out of the sky into somebody's garden by a giant eagle in Australia the other day. And the it was a dingo pup. It was in northern Victoria province that they decided that they were going to go ahead and take this dingo to the doctor, to the veterinarian, and get it checked out. The dingo pup was not only was it okay, but after DNA testing, they are finding that it is a pure breed pup of some breed of dingo that is either extremely
Rare.
endangered or thought to have been extinct.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so and pictures of this dog are extremely cute. I know dingoes grow up to be hideous monsters, but they're cute dogs. That every dog is cute at one point in their life. What were we looking up? I thought
I
you were
wasn't.
looking something. Oh, okay.
No, I just mentioned that there was a mummified dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh,
no.
I thought you were looking up to find out how it was accidentally found. I hope it
Uh,
wasn't found on private property because those people just lost that property.
Probably.
Well, I'd better tell somebody. Yeah, you better pack your bags too. I
Let's
lost my
see.
home in the name of science.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about the woolly mammoth at work the other day though, and the guy was just like, "Oh, that's a terrible idea. Those things were bigger than our elephants we have today." And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." And this is, that they're probably aggressive. I said, but think of what that's going to do for the industry. You can have once we get a massive population of them, we can have woolly mammoth season where hunters can go hunt woolly mammoths, but you're only allowed to use flint spears.
Nice.
I think that would be awesome, just to protect the history there on how
Maybe
they were.
reduce some of the population. Oh, I mean, 12 hunters were wiped out while trying to hunt
Yeah,
a woolly mammoth today.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's tragic. Tragic.
Willy Mammoth. I'm waiting for that movie.
Yes,
Willie the Woolly Mammoth teams
I'd
up
watch that.
with Willie the Killer Whale, and they both go free.
While stomping and eating many
Yeah.
on their way. I'd watch that. But we I don't know why I like this story, but I saw it this morning. Um, in Illinois, there's a police department who every Wednesday they put up photographs of fugitives on its Facebook page, and it's called Warrant Wednesday.
Can't wait
On
for Warrant
October
Wednesday. Let's see who wins.
on October 30th, the department posted a wanted notice for Brandon W. Conti, 25, who failed to appear in court on a drunk driving charge.
Brandon Conti.
In the spirit of Halloween, Conti commented on their page, "Where's my costume?"
Oh
Uh, so
no.
the department obliged and altered the mugshot. A new photo featuring Conti dressed in a sailor uniform with a caption on his hat that said "Ahoy." They said, "Done. We held up our end of the bargain. Now you do the right thing and sail yourself on in here and turn yourself in, or
Get
call us and we'd be happy to provide you transportation."
come
Conti
on now.
replied that he would surrender, and along with two laughing face emojis. He said, "I'll be there before noon. Please have the paperwork done and ready."
And
The
did he turn
department
himself in?
confirmed that Conti turned himself in.
What? See, that's the kind of service I expect. I see these departments that have Facebook pages all the time, and You know what? If you just be nice to them, they'll comply. Criminals need to
They have
be,
feelings too.
yeah, they need to be treated with the amount of respect. If they, you know, just, he wanted something, they obliged, and next thing you know, justice is served.
Yep.
He
Equal
turned
access.
himself in. It reduced his sentence, surely. It works out for everyone, especially the taxpayers, because, his ability to cooperate is going to decrease tax dollars as far as his stay in the state hotel or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what he did. He probably murdered people and is probably going to get off with 6 months now. No, it said drunk driving. Never mind. He probably
Yeah.
murdered people with his car. I don't know. And they're like, well, he turned himself in. Who cares if he killed a family of 50? I don't know. When was the last time you saw a minivan?
50 people in one vehicle. Was it a clown car?
When was the
It
last
was a
time you
clown
actually
car.
seen a minivan? You remember the minivans, the Dodge Caravan from like the 80s, 90s. They were small compared to the monstrosities that they call minivans these days.
I don't know. Some of the minivans from the 80s and early 90s were pretty big.
No, I'm talking about the original, the Dodge Caravan, the Plymouth Voyager. Of course, the Voyager, I think, had that long spaceship nose that looked like the monorail from Disneyland. But the they were, they kind of crammed. If you look at them today compared to what they have now, you could probably fit at least 10 people in one. The same model of vehicle that is just evolved over that 30 years. I
I
hope
have a
evolved
friend.
isn't a word. I'm gonna have to
I,
look that up. I probably just said something really cool.
I have a friend, Jonathan. We called him JD.
Hmm.
Uh, but he used to drive their family's van. It was an older van. It wasn't a minivan. It was a full on
Well,
van.
yeah, it's a van. Yeah, you
But it was one of the ones set for a family. And it
like
had the multiple seats in the back, and
I got you. Yeah,
we went everywhere in that thing. And the thing was ancient, but man, tell you what, that held a lot of people. You could have
a
easily
family of
fit like
50. You know,
yeah, you could have fit like 12 people in that thing probably if
that's
you tried hard
wild.
enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Our crew vans when I worked for when I worked for um I don't know, in the marine transportation industry, those were actually torture devices on wheels. You go to an extremely labor intensive job where you're going to work 28 days straight doing just god awful things, and but you get in the most uncomfortable van in the world with the worst drivers to ever exist who hit every single pothole. Your back is like wrenched and destroyed before you go to work, and you have 28 days to get over it. So I hate them. I don't know. Those were the Nissan vans, most uncomfortable thing. The crossbars in the back seats had literally no padding on them, so it was like sitting on a steel pipe for 18 hours. Anyway,
One of the most uncomfortable vehicles I'd ever been in was a Honda Colt.
I have never
Um,
heard of one of those.
it had uh, it had two front bucket seats. It had a passenger seat in the back, and then behind that, even further, was this little tiny bench seat that you could squeeze two people in if you really tried. And I don't know why, but they decided
It can be
to stick
done.
me and the girl I was dating at the time in that little bench seat.
Oh,
Oh,
you
it
don't want to
was
separate the two of you.
so cramped back there and uncomfortable. But overall, I remember. I don't even remember where we went, but I remember we had a good time. But yeah,
Uh,
Honda Colt,
Honda
tiny
Colt.
car. I don't know how it had a third seat in
Was it
there.
like a hatchback?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I don't. It was a long time
It's like a
ago. I do
hatchback.
remember that
I
this car was terrible. Oh, we took it to Vermont one time, and every time we'd hit a hill, this car would slow down to like 22 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, it's got a thousand pounds worth of human beings in it. You know,
That was with only four of us in it at that time.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he legit got mad when the three of us opened doors and we're pushing with
Oh,
our feet,
pushing
and,
it.
and it actually started to speed up.
Are you serious?
Not much, but
That's
we were going
funny.
uphill. But yeah,
That is too funny.
three of us started pushing. We were like, all right, we're gonna have to Fred Flintstone up this hill.
I've never had
Start
that.
pushing with your feet.
I've never had one of those. I've
Oh
had
man,
some rough vehicles, but man, I've never had one like that.
I remember one time it was just the guy who owned it and me. We were heading to the mall, and we were on the highway, and the gas pedal got stuck. Like he pushed down to accelerate, and then when he took his foot off it, it didn't stop accelerating. And
Oh
mind you, this
no.
is the same car that we hit a hill and it would slow down to 22 miles an hour.
Oh, so you
So
just turn
it's
the
not
keys
like
off.
all of a sudden we were doing 80. It was just like, oh, we're at 35 miles an
Oh
hour.
no, the gas pedal's stuck. About to break the
but
sound barrier.
but you know,
He found that
it
magic
wasn't.
spot of the accelerator where it gives it like an extra 600 horsepower.
Well, mind you, when he realized that he had this problem, we were turning off the highway and into the actual parking lot of the mall.
Oh, oh.
And
Yeah.
he was like, oh no, it's the so here we are coming into the parking lot of the mall, accelerating. It
Oh
was like,
no.
yeah, it was. He finally got on. He stomped on it hard a few times, and it finally come back up. But yeah, that almost got really exciting. I don't know.
I think owning a car like that, I would have to actually just sit and reevaluate my life and just think what led me to this
Now I gotta look
car.
that up. The Honda Colt.
Yeah.
That,
I highly recommend all of you look up the Honda Colt. I don't think I'm going to. I'll check it out later.
oh no, hold on.
Man, while you're looking that up, I'm going to talk about FMT and the amazing research that they are doing with it. FMT, of course, is an acronym that I can't necessarily remember at this time. I talked about it with Matt. He's given a lot of input into our show, and he's heard about it. I expressed to him, I was like, great, now that we've talked about it, it ruined all my jokes. But he said, not a big deal. He's like, not a big deal, you know. But as I looked into it, this isn't a joking matter. Essentially, what got me looking at this is two people were seriously injured. Well, actually, one died, and the other one is in a massive critical condition as a result of the fecal microbiome transplant. Basically, they pump fecal matter from one person into another, and that's the short story. Why do they do this? Maybe I'm the only one person who's never heard of this, because I actually try to stay away from fecal matter related news because poop in general turns my stomach. But that may be a result of my microbiome in my stomach not being balanced out. I may need some fecal matter transplants. But anyway, FMT they're finding that it actually they're doing clinical trials, have been for years. They're finding more stable ways of actually being able to treat autism with this. What they're finding is there's a oh lot of gut issues with children who are on the spectrum, and a lot of bacteria that they don't have the levels of bacteria as I don't want to say normal. I'm trying to remember what people who are not on the spectrum, we'll put it that way, that oh um, healthy human beings who have they have somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 different species of bacteria in their stomachs at all time, in their gut and their digestive tract. They're finding that people on the spectrum have somewhere between 500 and 800 different. So, and they are lacking a lot of the more beneficial bacteria that humans require to function, not just, digestively, digestively. I don't even know if that's a word. Would you agree that I am not a doctor?
I would definitely agree you're not a doctor.
Okay, we can just support the fact right now that I have never had a residency at Johns Hopkins or any medical practice whatsoever. I barely know what I talk about. Half the time when it comes to medically related news, I just try to learn as much as possible. I understand zero of it, despite coming from a family of nurses and people in the medical field. My girlfriend's a nurse. I'm surrounded by people who know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I myself am not one of them. Um, so, but I find it fascinating this time. You know, when my girlfriend called up and said one time, she's like, "Oh, work was horrible. I had to hold this woman's hair or this dude's hair. I don't remember if it was a male or female. While he vomited feces." I hung up and threw up. Normal, just to make sure I wasn't pooping out of my mouth. It reminded me of the South Park episode where they were cramming food up their rear ends and then vomiting feces. But that's not what happens. It pinches off somewhere in the intestines or something, and things get backed up, and it just blah. And yeah, that's a thing. I don't know. Did you know that was a thing? Because I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That's
Thanks.
a thing. You're welcome. But
Ugh.
I was actually thoroughly disgusted with FMT when I first found out about it because, you know, there's until I found out about the process, they sterilize. They essentially are taking fecal matter from healthy people. There's massive screening that's involved in that because my first thought was, okay, if we have blood banks and we have sperm banks and we have like plasma collections, where can I get paid to poop? But
Believe it or not, places like that have existed for a while now.
paid to poop?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
because
tell me more.
this is this process has been used to treat C. diff
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for a while. Um, but for C. diff, they actually have to take it from family members.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's massive risks involved in doing this.
Yep.
The sterilization process and all of that is just has to be perfect. And unfortunately, they're finding with this most recent case, they're finding that even after the sterilization process, the sample could still be contaminated. And it's just, you know, they didn't get into it, but I'm thinking maybe it's just like maybe more bad bacteria that didn't quite make it through the sterilization process, or maybe there's just another strand of toxin that we're just not really that aware of, and maybe the poop science is still a new discovery to us. I have no idea. But poop science has been around for a long time. You know, the Romans realized that they needed canals because we shouldn't poop in our drinking water. And then we forgot about that somewhere along the lines because, you know, things like, goodness gracious, what's that disease that killed like a quarter of the population? And I am talking about smallpox. Um, but that's one of the ways that spread, and that's how it spread so much in the medieval times. But getting back to autism and FMT, they're finding that you know, the response is good, and they're after 8 months of no treatment, the patients who have responded, which is a high amount of patients, have reduced autism symptoms of over 50% reduced autism symptoms after
Oh,
8 months of discontinuing treatment. You know, is it a cure? God forbid we say cure anymore. I don't know. I just think it improves their quality of life, and these aren't like mild mild cases of autism that they're treating. These are extreme cases of autism that they are treating. This isn't just this kid's a little bit different. He's on the spectrum, and now he's more social. But they're not treating like the nonverbal autism because they want the clinical trials. They need to interact verbally, the doctors and the patients. So, they're extreme cases. They are verbal autism, cases of autism that they are treating, but the trials are really fascinating, and I know a lot of people have been touched who have children with autism, some more extreme cases than others, and I don't want to say that it's for the people I know, it's not a burden, it's just a struggle, and I think this is great news. I think it's amazing. I feel like I think it's the Arizona University is where they're, excuse me, leading a lot of these studies here, and I feel like if look it up, if you give to charity, this is a great one. They're making leaps and bounds.
Sounds worthwhile.
Yeah, it's still years in development. This is a real touchy form of medication. it's
Yeah.
It's real. I had a real hard time looking at this because they showed some of the ways they treat it, and there are rectal injections where they just pump someone else's poop into you. Granted, after the sterilization process and everything else, and then they've got like the pills. I think is what bothered me the most.
Hopefully,
It's
I can't believe I'm going to say this. Hopefully, those are rectally given and not orally taken.
There are oral. They have both oral and suppositories. Yes.
I don't need to eat lunch today.
That's good. I was saving money left and right.
No, burning some calories not eating today. All right.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm done now that you.
Wow, fascinating.
I wasn't gonna bring it up. I wasn't gonna say nothing about how. I wasn't gonna get in detail, but you had to ask.
My mind had to go there. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
not sorry.
my mind went there, and I looked it up, and I was like, well, we don't need to talk about that.
I do.
You win.
My brain had to know.
You had to know.
My brain does that to me. It's like, we don't want to know that. Yes, we do.
You guys need to have a talk.
Yeah. My brain doesn't communicate with me as often as I would like it to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just spits things out without first thinking about it. My brain. Yeah. My brain's just like, no, we'll just sneak this out.
I don't know.
It'll be alright.
Holy moly, we have been talking for an hour.
Have we really?
According to the record timer over here, I've got 59 minutes and 19 seconds.
Dang.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Holy cow. I mean, we can keep going, or we could save some for next week, or we can just sky's the limit. Have a 24-hour episode.
well, I want to
Talk all day.
I want to squeeze
Yeah,
in one more.
please do.
Let's talk about Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh my, the Raven.
And his mysterious death.
Didn't he die of syphilis?
No, he was found.
It was H.P. Lovecraft that supposedly died of syphilis.
Well, on September 27th, 1849, Edgar Allan Poe was supposed to travel from Richmond, Virginia, to Philadelphia. He was going to help a fellow writer edit some poetry. But Poe never made it to the city. Instead, he was found in Baltimore, Maryland. Nobody knows how he got there or what he was doing there.
He
But
probably got pulled over. The cops took care of that one.
He was discovered on October 3rd, and he was in some serious trouble. He was found laying in the street outside a saloon called Gunner's Hall, barely conscious and wearing somebody else's worn-out clothes. He spent his last days either unconscious or delirious. When he wasn't in a coma, he was thrashing around so badly that he had to be strapped down.
What?
And while he could never explain what happened to him, he kept repeating the name Reynolds. He died on October 7th. And since then, there have been all kinds of theories.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to settle this one right now. He said Reynolds. This is obviously a time-traveling Deadpool. Case closed. You're welcome. Super sleuthed.
The theories have ranged from mercury poisoning to rabies.
Mercury poisoning sounds legit.
Some historians actually have a theory. They think that he was victim of cooping. In the 19th century, voting was actually kind of dangerous. Crooks, known as coopers, would grab people off the streets, beat them up, and get them drunk or high on opium.
Yeah, okay.
The victims were then forced to vote on multiple polling places. But in order to disguise these drugged up voters, they would dress them in in shabby disguises.
Yes. They talk about that in Gangs of New York. DiCaprio movie.
This theory accounts for both supposed change of clothes, his delirious state, and even he was also discovered on election day in front of a saloon that doubled as a polling station.
That's a good place for a polling station, FYI.
So the
City of West
theory
Plains.
is that they were giving him opium probably, and they OD'd him.
I think wasn't he a connoisseur of the opium byproducts anyway? Just throwing that out. I'm trying to remember, but I think that he was a bit of an opium addict regardless.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting.
That's the theory they came up with. To where he was found, their clothes.
That makes sense. That's a long ways from home. End up in Baltimore. Was it?
They think maybe he was nabbed on his travels.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where was he going again? He was going from Virginia to
Philadelphia.
To Philadelphia. I guess depending on where in Virginia, he could end up in Baltimore easily. That's a pretty short after leaving. Okay.
I think that he was kidnapped along the way.
That's rough. Yeah.
But, yep, that's what they think happened.
I wonder what political party it was.
Who they were making him vote for.
I'm just curious now. I'm just like, what were the voting scandals of the 19th century? I like they had an actual organization of people who ensured they got votes. I wonder what party that was. It seems like more on that local level, it's more about the candidate than the party. Now
I'm wondering, were they snagging this guy for presidential voting, or was it for just local voting?
What year was it though? 48? Was there a presidential election in 48? 46? I'm sorry, man. It's been 10 seconds since you said. I forgot.
1849. So actually,
it could have been,
but it would have been the final voting would have been for the following year, 1850, right? If they're starting their camp. Oh no, because that's what he was snagged for.
I don't know. Well, I mean, presidential terms were a little bit different back then too. It could have been on and off year. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what happened back then. All I know is FDR got 3 terms. Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong about that too. I think it was FDR that got 3 terms. And they're finally just saying enough's enough or something. I don't know. I think he would have been president forever. But, cooping is what they called that.
If I'm pronouncing it right, that's how it's spelled. COOPIN.
Yeah, it sounds work. Oh, okay, yeah. That sounds legit. So, I wonder how you get that job. Just kind of show up, just like I like voting. I like people who vote for people who I like to vote-ish for, or something.
Even if they don't want to vote for him, I'm gonna make them vote for him.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if I don't show up for this job, do I still get paid half? Sorry about your votes. You didn't get any votes, so you get half the votes. You get half his votes. It's a tie.
Wow, I literally looked up September 27th, 1849 voting in Maryland.
Okay.
And everything comes up around Edgar Allan Poe.
That's disgusting.
That's.
So did he win? Did Edgar Allan Poe win? I don't know. That's what I would get if I Googled that date, voting, and Edgar Allan Poe. I would be like, I guess he's the mayor of Baltimore. Don't need to even read anything. That's how I do 110% of the research I do for this podcast. It's 100% headlines, and then the other 10% is just things I make up or surrounding those headlines.
I just make weird comments. And
yeah, the Verbal Nonsense Podcast, your number one source of news.
Whether you wanted it or not.
I don't know if it's not fake news. It's just made up.
I don't make this stuff up. The internet.
No, we don't.
That makes it true.
We research on the internet.
And it's on the internet, so it's true, right? Is that how it works?
I would say I'd go to the library to go do my research, but their computers there connect to the internet just like mine do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't read the books anymore.
Pretty sure they're just there for decoration.
Right.
Yeah.
And that also required going outside, and it's too cold for that.
Going outside. I don't even want to talk about going outside.
I go outside for when I have to go to work, and that's bad enough. So.
I don't know. There was a.
That's my experiences of going outside for more than 40 hours of the week. Going to work. I don't like it, so I'm not going out.
40 hours. It works inside though. It's not bad.
But I still have to leave my home.
That's true. That's true. See, a dedicated employee would say that work is their home.
I'm not that dedicated.
I agree. I concur. But
I concur.
I concur that. I don't know.
Do you concur, number one? I concur.
I concur. I concur, Captain.
Make it so.
Well, goodness gracious. My girlfriend just texted me and said, have fun with your podcast today. Have we had fun?
I have had a blast. I always have fun.
I do have fun. These are enjoyable.
If I didn't enjoy this, I would not be here. You would be here by yourself.
I would be here by myself. I would continue, and me and Markiplier would collab, and I would be a multi-gazillionaire in YouTube bucks.
Oh, Markiplier.
I don't know. You know, I've never actually watched any Markiplier ever.
He's entertaining.
I hear he's great. I just don't need to find someone new to watch on YouTube. I have my standards set, and I'm good.
There are days he hurts my brain, but he is entertaining.
Yeah. Yep. You want to call it a show?
I think we should.
Well, go ahead then. Call it a show. I dare you. I double dog dare you.
Thank you for watching the Verbal Nonsense Podcast. I'm Joel.
I am Todd. And
thanks for watching.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, make sure if you enjoyed this show, like and subscribe, share it with your friends.
Hit that notification button.
If you learned anything today, you're welcome. If you made it this far, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.